Alright, super quick update on Bitcoin. So, since my last update, we talked about the fact that Tesla dumped 75% of its Bitcoin holdings, and since that announcement, we have trickled back into the bear flag that Bitcoin has previously been residing in. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can draw this. Number one, you can draw it from these two most recent local tops, and subsequently, if you did want to draw it like that in the lower time frames, you can definitely make an argument that Bitcoin is still above this channel. However, when you do draw it from, in my opinion, the most accurate way to draw it, because you've got touch points from all the way around here, here, and you almost touched it here, you can see technically we moved above this and we quickly started to move back down to the downside. You are also witnessing a lot of volume coming in over on the daily. Heikonashis have not yet switched red. However, they do have these massive blow off wicks to the upside with a curve at the top, which normally do link to these tops over in the Heikonashis for the daily. So Bitcoin's at a very pivotal moment right now. I don't think I need to tell you that. If we do get rid of the Heikonashis, these would be the regions that I'd be keeping my eyes on. In my opinion, right now, this is absolutely a no trade zone, because like I said, there are a few different ways that you can draw this, and it doesn't seem like the market has made a concrete decision. Pairing that with the fact that we are still technically above your 200-week moving average, but you have moved to the downside back inside this bearish pattern, we're really in a no trade zone. Once again, no confirmation has been made. We haven't confirmed anything with volume. But what I would like to highlight, one of the most important things, this is one of the reasons why we flipped short-term bullish. It's because, as I always say on my channel, no matter what direction it happens in, a failed move equals a fast move in the opposite direction. Previously, we had this channel playing out with this floor coming down, you know, once, twice, 3 times. We came down to it again and we lost it. We lost it with a decent amount of volume. People dumped it below the floorboards, and this was very brutal in the 4-hourly time frame, and we very quickly had a fast move in the opposite direction. Why is this? Because we broke outside of this bearish pattern, we broke down bearish, but we subsequently pumped right back into this. So this breakdown was a failed move equals a fast move in the opposite direction. As on the daily time frame, you can see, even if we hop over to the 4-hourly time frame, we basically were solidifying this as resistance. We temporarily popped above it. We didn't have volume continuation. In fact, we had more bearish volume stepping in than bullish volume, and as soon as that happened, we had a failed move equals a fast move in the opposite direction. The only reason I'm humoring this as not being bearish at this moment in time is because, like I said, we don't have a plethora of volume coming in either way to support a bullish uptrend or a bearish uptrend. If we do look at the momentum indicators, which I will pull up in a second, we are super overextended on the daily time frame, so my bias is still towards the downside. However, in the lower term time frames, I'm very neutral. While we are above the 200-week moving average, I do remain neutral to short-term bullish, but I have highlighted this green and red box for you. If I clear up the moving average on the 200-week, because basically the 200-week moving average is going to be coming in around about 22,600, so that is a huge zone that you would definitely want to see Bitcoin to hold if you did even want to say, you know, remotely that we are bullish. Now, I could have moved this all the way up to here to encompass this wick, but I've actually kept it so we do encompass this wick on the daily time frame to the downside. So to the downside, you really do want to see 22,360 hold. If you do capitulate beneath there, you are going to have a failed move above the 200-week moving average. You're going to have a failed move above the bear flag, and as soon as you start capitulating below the 200-week, which is, you know, coming into the heartline of the bear flag, you're going to have a very quick move right back down to the bottom at 20,400. If we do pull up the VPVR, you can see the next support box zone is not really until 21,900, but it doesn't even start kicking in until 21,200. So we could definitely have a big move back down to the downside, lollygag for a prolonged period in time, which is, like I'm saying, this is really a no trade zone. Up until the FOMC meeting, I do expect a lot of volatility, with volatility coming into the upside and the downside. So right now, once again, this is a no trade zone for me. I have given you the price targets to the upside. I would become very short-term bullish if we do break above 24,266. However, on that same accord, if you do flip below the 200-week moving average, if you do move back into this channel very, very strongly, and most importantly, if you break to the downside at 22,360, you're going to have a monumental momentum shift. You're going to start seeing things like the daily Fibonacci candle switch to the downside. On the 4-hourly time frame, they have had a slight bounce back with some continuation supported by volume as we have come down to the 200-week moving average. But once again, right now, we've technically come down and back tested the 200 week, but at this moment in time, until you do break back above this invalidation point, you are not bullish. And on that same accord, until you move back beneath 22,360, you're technically not bearish. Right now, lower time frames, I'm very neutral. This is a no trade zone. If you are going to be longing, you should probably be longing above 24,260. If you're going to be shorting, a move below 22,360 is probably going to cascade us at least down to the heart line of this, which tomorrow is going to be coming in at 21,600. So definitely some big moves to be had in the short term. Once again, absolutely a no trade zone for me. We are basically sitting in the middle of a major decision. Now, what I would like to show you is if we do clear up some of these indicators, pull up some of our oscillators. So first of all, we're going to pull up the MACD, we're going to look at the money flow index, and we're going to look at the squeeze momentum indicator. On the daily time frame, you have not yet flipped bearish over on the squeeze mom, but you are running out of momentum, just like we did back here. You know, if you look back to previous times where you flipped majorly bullish over on the squeeze mom, it's very indicative that you're in a bullish trend. And I've been calling out this one for a while. I've been saying this looks very similar to this one, and it just looks overall very weak to me right now. The MACD from all the way down at, you know, these regions, which is basically the most oversold it's been on the daily time frame in like a year. We've only recently come back to the heartline, and we did this move very quickly as Bitcoin started to move up. So the histograms, which are normally quick acting, have not actually started to trickle down bearish over on the MACD yet. So there's nothing bearish over here, but the money flow indicator, this alone speaks absolute volumes. When was the last time the money flow indicator was all the way up here at 80, just completely overextended? Well, we actually topped all the way up to 92 when Bitcoin was topping out at 48,000. That's right. The last time the MFI, the money flow index, started to turn down from this overbought region, we had a move from 48,000 very quickly down to 25,000, which all in all was about another 47% move to the downside. Now, am I saying we're going to do that same move again? Absolutely not. I do think we are gearing up very soon, within the next week or two, for one last flush to the downside. What happens in the price action is yet to be decided. If the money flow indicator is going to be nice, we could come back down to the heartline. If we're showing extreme strength in the market, you might find a bottoming structure down here. If the Fed pivots, that would be a great place to get in if you miss the bottom down here. However, if the Fed does not pivot, if GDP is negative, you could see a reset all the way back down to these previous levels like 10, 7, 8 over on the money flow. And this should correlate, in my opinion. This is what I think is going to be happening, to one last capitulation to the downside. This is when I plan on aping back into Bitcoin. Looking at the lower time frames, it seems like the breakdown is soon initiating. You've got some very mixed signals over here on the squeeze mom and the MACD. MACD is starting to turn back up after the most recent capitulation, even though the price action looks like it's solidifying a lower high. The squeeze mom, which I would pay greater interest to because it takes more momentum to push this up or down, is still heading to the downside, and the MFI looks like it's coming down very strongly after negatively retesting the heartline. So I'd say, in my opinion, the breakdown is more likely, but there's not enough going for this at this moment in time to be shorting. I would definitely not be shorting. I would not be short-term bearish while we do remain above the 200-week moving average. And just to be extra safe, give yourself a little bit more momentum to the downside. Once again, slapping a horizontal ray over this so you're encompassing a bunch of these data points until you do break below this green line, which once again, let's just round it down to make it even more conservative, 22,300. Until you break that, I would absolutely not be going short. Anything above this red box at 24,300 is long season. Anything below 22,400, 22,300 is the place to short. Now, If we briefly check out the stock market, you can still see the dollar is still heading down pretty strongly. So, you know, this would basically be in opposite agreement of what I've been saying. Stock market is heading up very, very strongly. Post market not yet coming out, very, very close to the actual values we're at. The NASDAQ heading up very, very strongly. We are coming into some resistance here. So if we do start turning down from this level or the next, this could definitely be a key indicator. I'll be looking at tech stocks as a leading indicator for when I expect the next run to the downside to happen for Bitcoin. But nonetheless, we can even decouple after hearing what happened with the BTC Tesla news. In my opinion, this is very bullish news in the mid to long term. However, in the short term, I do think some retail traders might come in and sell this. And, you know, we can basically see as soon as this news drops, you are majorly capitulating, falling back into this bearish pattern. So very, very soon, within the next 24 to 48 hours, if Bitcoin does not push back above this invalidation zone, if Bitcoin does not break back out of this bearish pattern, you are going to witness this solidify into a failed move equals a fast move in the opposite direction. Where does this mean Bitcoin's going to come down to in the short term? Probably all the way back down to 20,400, 20,500, depending on whether it takes us a couple of days or not. Remember, until the next FOMC meeting, there isn't any clear direction in the market. But once again, these macro bearish indicators are still very much in play. So I would be slightly cautious if you are longing until we do have a confirmed bounce from the 200-week moving average. That's really all I've got today. Once again, absolutely a no trade zone for me. I would be waiting. Once again, I would be waiting for that confirmed breakout of those boxes that we talked about, which once again are around 24,300. That is when you want to get bullish. If we do break to the downside of 22,300, that is when you want to flip bearish. No decision has been made yet, so it is once again a no trade zone for me. That's all I've got for you today, my friends, and as always, cowboy out. Peace.